All right. Happy, what is this? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hump Day. Wealth Wednesday. Up in the house, up in here. Got a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about today. So welcome. Thanks for swinging by. Really appreciate you guys and you too for coming by to hang out. I'm not supposed to say you guys. I'm just supposed to say you, talking to a singular person. So, and everybody else that's going to swing by as well. So happy. We're going to talk about the power of network marketing events, two events that I attended over the last 12 months that have just greatly, hugely, bigly, tremendously changed. Yeah, I said bigly. That greatly changed my business, my life, the impact of what I'm doing, how I show up. And I also wanted to talk about this since I put this up yesterday. Let's see, where'd it go? I said, we're going to talk about how the power of continuous activity helps in creating habits and how it affects the subconscious mind to accomplish goals on autopilot and maintain a positive mindset. So that is going to be powerful. So one, I want to talk about that I don't know which one I'm going to talk about first. It doesn't really matter. So let's talk about events and network marketing events. So very, very important. I want to talk about these two events, and then that'll be a good segue into the continuous activity and why I'm going in the direction I want to go into. So cool. So let me pull up my chat here so I can see who's on chat, because somebody made a comment. Hey Heath, thanks for swinging by. So check this out. So there was two events that's happened over the last 12 months, and the power, and I'm going to qualify this first before I go too far down this road. One, let me tell you who I am. My name is Forrest Knight. I'm out in St. Louis, married to an absolutely awesome wife. I'm a social media marketing strategist. I love helping people succeed in their business if they choose to do so. I am a coach as well. Absolutely love helping people move forward and accomplish their goals. And I am on a mission to have no more empty refrigerators. So I'm absolutely excited to talk about what I've got going on tonight. Feel free to comment in the comments. Tell me what part of the country you're swinging in from. It's funny. We had 90-degree weather yesterday here in St. Louis, and it was sort of chilly today. I mean, it was like we had to turn off all the air conditioners. So it's just like all over the place, standard, typical St. Louis weather. So a couple of things. One is I'm going to throw this out to you guys. This coming Saturday night, this next week, Sunday, if you're a network marketer, and this is going out to all my buds, if you're going to catch this, this coming Sunday through Saturday, I am doing a prospecting blitz challenge. So basically the way it's going to work, I'm going to explain the details on Saturday. It's not a big deal at all. But the cool thing about it is at the end of the Saturday of next week, I'm going to give out a personal gift from me to everybody that wants to play. It's going to be absolutely fun. So it's going to go from Sunday through Saturday. You're going to choose your goal. On Saturday, I'm going to come on. I'm going to talk about choosing your target audience, so I can make it really easy on you guys to pick out who you want to go after and go out, so there'll be no excuses. I'll throw out a little bit of a script so you know exactly what to say to reach out to people, so there won't be no weirdness and that kind of stuff. So if you want to play, make sure you join me here Saturday for my live. I'm not sure exactly what time it's going to go down. I'm probably going to be around, I don't know, 8:15-ish or so, somewhere in that time frame. 8:15 Saturday. I've got some people chiming in, so that's going to be absolutely awesome to be able to do that. So I'm going to tag some people in this live here that want to join this, and it's going to be fun to go through and do a prospecting blitz. We're going to talk about some of the things that I do to get myself jazzed to be able to do that and just knock out and put some big dent in some big numbers. So let's jump on this. Let's talk about these couple of events and why they made a big impact. Well, the first event, so let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to September. In September of this last year, I made a company switch. I moved in another direction. And the reason I did it, and I don't even know how to explain it. Everything I saw in the company just made a whole lot of sense to me. It looked like, and I did, and it wasn't just an immediate like jump in, because I was stalking people and I was looking at stuff and I was doing some homework. So it wasn't one of those, oh, I'm just going to switch. Had nothing to do with the company that I was previously working in marketing. I'm actually still a customer there. Had nothing to do with them being bad, being horrible, or anything. I just saw this opportunity and I said, wow. And I did a little bit of research. I actually did a lot of research. I did a lot of research on it. I jumped in and I said, man, this is cool. It fit right into my in my geeky techie idea of things. I love their presentation platform. They have an automated presentation platform. Just a lot of the stuff made sense, so that somebody that isn't like a super marketing person like me, somebody that's very novice, very brand new, could basically jump on board, come on board the business. I could teach them some basic prospecting scripts, and they could take the business and run with it if they choose to. So here's the thing about going to events, right? If you're, and there's two people, and I'm not saying that any one person or not should, one person should go and one person shouldn't. It's just up to you if you want to go. But for me, I go to events because I want to be able to move my business to the next level. That's why I go to an event. So, wow, that's some super dry throat going on here. So that's why I go to events. So it's very, very important that if you're going to go to an event, you need to know why you're going there. Sometimes you don't know why. So the first event that we went to, so I started this new company in September. Of course, I'm in Rank Makers. Woo woo! Shout out to all my Rank Maker peeps. Matter of fact, you'll see the hashtag in the description here. It says Rank Makers Live 2020, because Rank Makers Live 2019 was off the chain in Orlando, and I'm definitely going to 2020 this year because 2019 impacted my life. So I'm going to talk about that. So I'm in the new business in September. Rank Makers Live comes around in October. Right now, I've been in Rank Makers prior to that, maybe 18 months or something like that, showing up every day and just getting hit and miss. And one of the things that had never really happened for my business, I've been doing network marketing a long time, and it never really took off. I get a little bit of a boost, and then it would shh. And it could be some of me, it could be some of this, and I'm not going to go way back in time to my first experiences because it was crazy. But in the most recent times, and of course, I was in another business where we just had a bunch of people who just clashed and just got all ugly, and we just had to get away from those people. So it just got pretty toxic. And again, it was just nothing bad or mean. It just happened to clash, and some personalities didn't click, and things just didn't work out, and invested some money that we're not going to ever get back. And it just, some things like that. So it was just not a good mix. It just sort of burned up in flames. It's, chalk it up to business and tax write-off, right? So anyway, moving forward, showed up in September, enrolled in a new company, went out and I put about 21 customers in my business in the first month. And I was like, okay, that's not bad compared to what I was doing before. I might put one or two in. So I had a little bit more of excitement because of the new company and the new system that they used. And it was a lot more simple to use. It was a lot more simple to explain. I could share a video link to somebody, and the video would basically do all the work for me. Literally, it wasn't just sending somebody a video, but the video actually walked them through. Thanks, babe. Actually walked them through a process and called them out for a decision in the end. So anyway, that made it to me. I said, wow, that's even better. So I went to Rank Makers Live in October. It was the first couple of, it was like October 6th, 7th, and 8th or something like that. Last matter of fact, it's 7, 8, and 9, or 8, 9, and 10 this year for Rank Makers Live. You can actually go to rankmakerslive.com and register to go. If you need to go to an event, maybe your company didn't have a big event or they haven't had one yet, highly recommend you plug in. It could change your life. So went to Rank Makers, was sitting there, and I took my wife. I sort of drug her with me. She was real reluctant to go because she's not a big rah-rah, go to a rah-rah hype stuff kind of deal person. She didn't want that. And she reluctantly came along, but she showed up anyway. And we hung out, and she got to meet a bunch of people, and it was a completely different event than any kind of other event. It was very business. It was fun, but the fun was the hype was very low. It was just educational. I mean, we had Tarek from the Flipper Flop House guy. I mean, we had guest speakers. Oh God, what's the one lady? I mean, there was so many speakers there that were just bringing power after power after power after power after power after hit after hit after hit. And it just, a lot of life-changing stuff was going on. And some of this for me, and I'm going to talk about some of this mindset stuff here. We're going to get into that a little bit. So I'm in Rank Makers, and I'm not quite sure what day it was, but they have a panel, an up-and-coming panel, where they get all these what do you want to call them? New peeps up, and they sit up on stage, and they were all women, and they were all sitting up there. Matter of fact, one of them is Elsa, my coach now, and they were up on the stage. And I remember Ray saying, we need to have a guy. We need to get some guys up here on stage. And at that moment, I said, and I told my wife, I said, babe, didn't I say this? I said, I'm going to be up on stage next year. I called it out. I threw it out there. I said, I'm going to be up on stage next year. And I called that out. So that was the first mental mind thing. And if you guys know me, if you've heard my stories, I've called a lot of stuff out. I've called a whole lot of stuff out. I put it out into the universe. And the cool thing about this, you guys, if you understand the power of spoken word followed by action and a passion, a direction for a mission, you can't get out of alignment with that. It automatically like redirects your focus. It's like you get a little distracted, like it brings you right back on track. And it's a powerful natural law of the universe that God put in place. It's very, very cool. And I'm not talking about hocus pocus, wishy-washy stuff. I'm not talking about saying, oh, I wish I could do. I'm talking about, hey, I'm going to be up on stage next year. And it was a definite, absolute subconscious deal that I knew. And once I called that out and said that, now I can't. They say there's a saying, you can't save your face and your ass at the same time. Well, that's when you put it out in the universe like that. That's what that's doing, right? It's a call out. You've got a bunch of people keeping you in check. One was my wife sitting right next to me. So I'm going through, we're at Rank Makers, and just a lot of stuff going on. It's just like download, notes on notes on notes. And it came up to the part where the last day, they talk about coaching, and they get up everybody's stories and how these people went through a coaching process. A Rising Star panel is what it's called. And they have the Rising Star panel up there, and they're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And of course they say, and they tell their stories of how coaching helped them. And we're sitting there, and I'm just sort of humming and hawing. I'm like, yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, do I want to do the coaching or not? So my wife, she sort of taps me on the shoulder. She looks at me, and it was like a question statement. She says, you're going to do the coaching, right? I actually said, we are going to do the coaching, right? And I was like, okay. Because one, that surprised the heck out of me that it came from her, because I literally drug her to this event, right? I drug her to the event, but she saw how the impact of the business training, how the nuts and bolts, how the mind shift stuff helped. There was a lot of mind shift going on at that event, and it wasn't raw like hype stuff. It was straight up raw to the core, being able to sit in special luncheons and in events and things like that. And I went as a super VIP, so we got special seating in certain rooms, and you have millionaires you're sitting in front of. What was the one lady that came up and spoke?
Oh, Eyes on Me one?
No, the other. What was her name?
I forget.
I was just listening. She was just with Ray a little bit. Anyway, there was a lot of people up there. I'm sorry, I can't remember people's name, but this is like one after another. Just one powerful speaker after another. And there was all business. I mean, Tarek from Flip or Flop told his story.
I mean, everybody was powerful. And
it was how he started out, had no clue what he was doing. He just jumped. Dude never knew how to rehab a house in his life. And he was getting TV deals. And I'm like, really? See, now that's the power of having a dream and showing up. He showed up and figured it out. He didn't get all his lines, all his ducks in a row and become the perfect house rehabber before he got the TV show. He got the TV show, then figured it out how to make it work. And I remember him telling, I may be a little bit off, but one of the contracts was he had to do a certain house in a certain amount of time. He totally screwed it up, went way over the time he was supposed to do it. So it was just a lot of cool stuff. So the impactful part of this one was calling out that I'm going to be on stage next year. And that created a subconscious deal inside of me that I didn't know what was going to happen, but I called it out. The next thing was being enrolled in coaching, got enrolled in the coaching program, made a commitment to coaching. And I remember my wife sitting there, she's like, oh, I want that coach. I want that person. I'm like, no, we're just going to let God choose the coach, right? That's just me and the way I do something. I'm just going to let God choose the coach. Well, God chose the perfect coach. Absolutely. Thank you, Jesus. Because if I would have done it, I would have messed it up big time. So got Coach Elsa. Coach, she comes on and she just fire. One of the things then, as I think it was my first or second coaching session, I think she said, what do you want to get out of the business? And asked me that question. And I said, well, I just really want my business to explode. Again, I put it, no. I didn't say it like that. I said, I'm really looking forward to my business exploding. It was a positive. I didn't say I want. I said I really look forward to my business exploding. Again, I put it out there into the universe as a positive thought, as an action thought. So happen, do this. Now October, because I was readjusting my what we call our daily method of operation, I was doing some adjustments like that. Talked to my coach. I said, here, I want to do it. I made some adjustments. So my business prospecting and my customers didn't really grow in October. I think I did like 21 in September. I put in about 17 customers in October. And then November, I think I did like, I don't know, more. And then as time continued to go through the year, I know in February that I put in 105 customers in the month of February. It was actually like 5 more customers in the single month in February than I had done from January all the way back to October. So it was going along. It was coming along. I continued to plug into coaching. I continued to show up, continue to show up. And then the next event that really set it on fire. So I'm sitting right at somewhere 100 and I didn't quite hit 200 customers. I think I was like at 175 or something like that. I went to our company event, which was in Houston, which was like right at I think it was February. Went to Houston, and now it was a lot more hypey. I mean, it was a lot more hype in it. Some really good training. But there was one segment in the training, and see, my geek mode, my green mode kicked in, and they put this chart up on the board that says, if you do this, and this, and this is what your money's going to be. And I literally flew out the floor, up onto the chair seat. I was yelling and screaming and jumping up and down because my brain was in fire mode. I was like, you're doing what? Because the numbers they had presented were within 1 or 2 numbers that I already had on the books based on the number of income that you can earn based on those numbers. And I was like, oh my God. At that point, I got my dog tags. We got some really cool dog tags that I had over 100 customers. And I was just like, okay, this is my next goal. And then of course they've got just some huge winners they put up on stage, which is absolutely cool. And those 2 events are what sparked and just catapulted me and kept me showing up. And then I had a month where I had like 430 customers that I put in 1 month. And here's what's the funny thing about it is I would put my head down. I call it head down fire hustle, prospect, enroll, prospect, and I'd do that, and I'd look up and I'd count. I'm like, how many did I do? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 110. I'm like, oh my God. And here, watch this. Now this is now we're going to talk about the continuous activity, creating habits that in your subconscious mind to accomplish your goals on autopilot, right? So here's what happened. Now it's to the point where I can literally drink a cup of coffee, put on my eyelash makeup, and prospect with my other hand. And I'm saying that to be, I don't really put on eye makeup, but I'm using an analogy there. It's that I'm constantly prospecting. I'll get up in the morning on the way, and I'll come in here and I'll boot up my computer and get everything going, and I'll go in and I'll brush my teeth. And watch this. This is crazy, y'all. This is my daily method of operation. Everybody goes, how do you prospect so many people? Well, this is what I do. So on my way back from the bathroom to brush my teeth, I'll jump on my computer and I'll send out like 3 or 4 quick messages, like, then I go in and I'll iron my clothes. Now understand, I have a full-time daytime gig job that's actually about 25 hours more a week than the full-time. So what happened? Somebody, what? Let me see. 200. Awesome. One of our teammates just got up to the 200 customer mark. That's absolutely cool. So that's how my day is. It's on autopilot. So let's talk about, I'm looking at my notes over here. So the power of continuous process. So events. Let's go back to talking about events. If you're at a point in your business where you're like, I sort of wanted to go, I'm not sure what's going to happen, 2 things I would recommend. One is, if there's any way that you can pause, and this is if you want your business to grow, if there's any way possible that you can go to the Rankmakers Live in October, highly recommend you go do that. One is, I think up through Friday this month, the tickets are free, and basically I explain that you spend $97, and when you show up to the event, they give you the $97 back. So hold on, I'm just chiming over here because we got the woo-woo. So you get the $97 back, and that's free through that. So you can go over. All you have to do is get airfare and hotel. And right now, airfare is stupid cheap. Hotels are crazy affordable. Definitely recommend going there if you want to impact. It's going to be huge this year. It's going to be off the chain. Shalene Johnson, I think, is going to be speaking there. She's like one of the guest speakers. So it's going to be very, very cool in terms of being able to impact and change your business. You're going to meet people and friends that you could possibly never meet. But the cool thing about Rankmakers Live event, I'm really pushing this, is because you're in a room full of professional network marketers, right? There's no cross recruiting. There's none of that kind of stuff. So you don't have to worry about that because everybody has like sort of this code of honor to do that. But I have some of the best friends I could possibly have now from the Rankmakers Live and being in Rankmakers and being in that event. So absolutely cool. They're in all kinds of different businesses, right? So second event, coming to Houston, right? I'm in Houston. I'm at our business event, and I'm sitting there. Now, this is the first major event that I've been with because I've only been in the business since September, and this event was in February. So I'm in Houston. I'm watching all these numbers just blow up. I'm going, holy cow, and I'm listening to all this stuff, and they put out some real cool incentives. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting next to one of our teammates. Her name is Joe, and it's funny. She's listening, and she's prospecting at the event. And she's literally at the event, listening to the event, prospecting, and her numbers going choop, 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 choop. So I'm like, another conscious effect. I saw these. I said, okay, by the time we get to the next event, I'm going to have this X number of customers in my business. And with those two events and calling that out, and I didn't say I'm going to try. I said I'm going to, right? I'm going to. So coming all the way up to today, right? And I'm talking about the conscious efforts of habits. I'm going to explain this. So because I prospect on a regular basis, I'm like, I'm on autopilot, and I'm going to talk about how the subconscious mind works. So since I've been doing this continuous prospecting from way back, all year, going all the way back to basically, we'll call it October, whatever. I've been just like a machine, just reaching out. Something has happened in my subconscious mind, because remember I said I had this head down fire hustle where I put my head down and I would look up, and I would, the smoke would settle and the dust would settle and go, oh my God, there's all these people that I reached out to. I'm like, holy moly. So what's happened yesterday, right? I set a goal, and here's the thing now is you've got to be careful on goals that you set. If you've never done something before, you want to be careful about setting a goal because it can mess up your brain subconsciously. So me, I'm not worried about that because I absolutely know I can hit this goal, and I've called it out before, and I told people this, and they're like, holy moly. And it's because I understand the power of my habit that I put in place subconsciously. So yesterday I sat down and I did my math. I said, I want to be at 1,500 by the end of this month, right? And I sat down and I said, and I did the math, and that means I have to add 21 customers a day to be at 1,500 by the end of the month. So I went back, and guess what? Yesterday, before I even counted how many I did that day, I did the math, and I went back and guess how many people I had subconsciously enrolled yesterday? 21. So the power of the subconscious mind. I'm not saying that to brag. If you show up, one is if you make a commitment to be somewhere and do something, right? To make a commitment to impact lives. I made a commitment to impact lives. My goal is to have no more empty refrigerators. If you don't know that story, I'm not going to tell it now, but it's very impactful to be able to reach out to people, find out what their empty refrigerator is, and offer them a solution. Offer them a solution to get free. On the back end of that, I'm setting an example so that when somebody comes along, I can say, now I'm going to qualify this. You may not be able to hustle like I hustle. You may not have the skill that I have for following up and things like that. That's absolutely okay. You get there with time. But what I do have is a really basic, simple script a really cool automated presentation that anyone, I mean, if you can operate a computer, an iPad, a phone, whatever, and you can send that message out to people. And if they say they're yes, and then you can send them the video. If you can do those two things, and you do that on a repetitive basis, and you do that a lot, and you don't get addicted to the response, you get addicted to your activity. You show up every day, and you do a little bit more every day, and do a little bit more every day, and you do a little bit more every day. And like I said, this upcoming week, if you want to play, if you want to come play with me this upcoming week, I'm inviting you to come out to the playground, right? If you want to come out and play, we're going to do a prospecting blitz. I don't know what else to call it. We'll call it a blitz, a prospecting challenge, whatever. So we're going to do this. It's going to start on Sunday. So I'm going to do the announcement on Saturday, right? I'm going to call everybody out on Saturday for those that want to play. And Sunday through Saturday of next week, where you're going to call out your number. I'm going to give you the script to reach out to people. And then on that post, on that Facebook Live, I want people to post what they did every single day. So the thread's just going to blow up with people saying, hey, I reached out to 15. Hey, I reached out to 20 today. Hey, I reached out to this. And here's what's the cool thing about this. And I want you to understand what's going to happen to this prospecting challenge. In this prospecting challenge, you're going to create a micro habit. Now, to create an ingrained habit, there's two additional steps. One is you've got to do it continuous for 21 days to sort of get in the groove of doing it so you can get a feel for it. But to really get it ingrained in your subconscious, you've got to do it continuously for 66 days. Now, we're not going to do a 66-day challenge. The 7-day challenge is just to educate you on how to do it, how to see how simple it can be to send out a prospecting script, and then hopefully get that muscle to where you're not worried about, oh, I sent out it to 10 people and they didn't reply. That's okay. That's okay, because guess what? If you do that on a regular basis, if you just reach out to 10 people every single day, and you did that for the next 365 days, somebody from 365 days ago may finally look in their inbox and see that message and reply to you and not even realize. I actually had somebody from June of last year reply to a message I sent them in June of last year, answering the question, thinking it was June of this year, right? So don't get all hung up on that. How do we find you on Saturday? I'm going to be right here, Heath, about 8:15. Yeah, I'll just do it 8:15. 8:15 Saturday, 8:15 Central Saturday. I'm going to be right here. I'm going to do the live. I'm going to set up the challenge. I'm going to share the script. I'm going to share exactly, Zackley, exactly what you need to say to reach out to people. You're going to have to use your own tool from your own company, because I don't know what that is. So you'll have to have your own, sizzle video, presentation video, whatever that is, to follow up when people say yes. I'm going to talk to you about a little bit if somebody says no. I'm going to sort of give you some skills if somebody just ghosts you and freaks you out. So hopefully we can do a little bit of mindset so we can make through these 7 days so you don't make it to day 2 and quit, right? So we're going to have this PM, 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:15. I'll get off here. I'm going to post that in a comment after this so everybody will see it. So it's going to be a prospecting challenge and primarily to mindset you so you can see and learn and have fun and say, hey, I can do this if you choose to. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. You're going to come up with excuses, you're whatever. And that's going to be, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with that. And there's a lot of mindset stuff we get into that. But this 7-day, and we're going to talk about it. And we'll probably just talk about it every single day for the next 7 days, all next week. It's going to be a lot of fun to have this prospecting challenge blitzy thingy that we're doing. So this is Forrest out in St. Louis. I love you. Jesus loves you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. No more empty refrigerators. Go out and make an extreme impact. I'm going to see you guys at the prospecting challenge on Saturday. That's when we're going to launch it off for Sunday through Saturday of next week. But I'll be back here tomorrow with my regular Facebook Live, and Friday with my regular Facebook Live as well. So peace out. Y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.